At our 10th anniversary party, my wife announced she was leaving me for her boss. Her family turned on her instantly, and 7 months later, karma finished the job. Wow, I'm still kind of reeling as I jot this down. Just 3 days ago, everything kind of blew up, and I'm trying to wrap my head around it by writing it out. It's tough to even type this. Never thought I'd end up being one of those people airing their relationship messes on Reddit. Using the names Mark and Sarah here since they seem to be the go-to fake names. Plus, I'm a bit paranoid about anyone recognizing us, though this whole ordeal is pretty unique, so anyone who was involved would probably figure it out right away. Until 3 days ago, I thought my marriage was okay, not perfect, but solid enough. We had future plans and everything, but that's all gone now. To set the scene, my wife, Sarah, has always had this fiery personality. If things don't go her way or if someone challenges her, she goes from calm to stormy in a heartbeat. She talks super fast, gets loud, occasionally throws small stuff around, slams doors, and pretty much acts like a hurricane until people cave. Then she'll go silent until things go her way. I've put up with this for years because I loved her, and honestly, I just got used to managing it to avoid drama. I know it sounds bad, but you get used to it, like a frog in boiling water. After a decade together, I developed ways to keep things calm, spotting the early warning signs and trying to diffuse situations. Let me give you a couple of examples before I get to the big event, just to paint a picture of what life's been like. About 3 years ago, we planned to renovate our house, nothing too wild, just the kitchen and master bath. We'd saved up for it, and I was pumped to make the house more our own. Sarah, with her knack for design, took the reins, which was fine. But she picked a contractor after one meeting since he charmed her. His quote was way over budget, and the timeline was suspiciously quick, like gutting and rebuilding a kitchen in 2 weeks, which is nuts. The materials section in the quote was super vague too, which screamed sketchy to me. I suggested we get a few more quotes, thinking it's just smart with a big investment. Well, you would have thought I suggested burning the house down. She flipped out, accusing me of sabotaging the project and not trusting her. Then, she ghosted me for 2 days at home. I eventually convinced her to get another quote, mostly by leaving horror stories about renovations open on my laptop where she'd see them. Surprise, surprise, the first contractor was way overpriced and unrealistic. The second company highlighted a bunch of issues the first guy ignored. Sarah decided to go with the second company but never admitted she was wrong or apologized. She just acted like it was her idea all along. I was just relieved we weren't getting taken for a ride, so I didn't push it. Just another fight not worth having in my mental tally. Another time, about 18 months ago, we were planning our yearly vacation. It was my turn to choose where we'd go. We'd talked about something outdoorsy, maybe a cabin near a national park with hiking trails. We both loved the outdoors, or at least I thought we did. Sarah always seemed to enjoy our past hikes, sitting by the campfire, sipping wine, and chatting for hours under the stars. Those are some of my best memories. I'd been researching for months, had a folder of bookmarks on my laptop, looking for something affordable. So, I had this awesome idea for a getaway near Yazid. I found these cute cabins, arranged for guided hiking tours, and even discovered a service that would bring gourmet meal kits right to our cabin. We could cook together without any of the usual planning hassle. I was really pumped about the whole thing and kept dropping little hints to Sarah, who seemed interested and asked questions like she was excited too. Then, out of the blue, Sarah shows up waving some travel magazine around. She'd got it in her head that we absolutely had to check out this swanky resort in the Caribbean. It had all the bells and whistles, private plunge pools, personal butlers, the whole shebang. Next thing I know, she's insisting that's our new destination, even though it was way out of our budget, like 3 times more than what we planned to spend. When I tried to remind her about the outdoor trip I'd been working on for months and gently pointed out the budget issue, she lost it. I mean, full on yelling that I was being difficult on purpose and trying to deprive her of the kind of vacations everyone else supposedly gets to have. Then she accused me of embarrassing her by being cheap, which so wasn't the case. I'm just careful with money. Sarah even threw a pillow, which ended up smashing a picture frame with our wedding photo in it. Kinda symbolic looking back, I guess. She declared that our outdoor trip was definitely not happening and stormed off, slamming the bedroom door so hard a painting fell off the wall. She ignored me for hours, and I ended up crashing on the couch. When I tried to bring it up the next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you. The following day, she went ahead and booked the resort, charging it on our joint credit card before I could even say anything. I didn't fight it because, honestly, what was the point? She was already set on it, and I knew from experience that arguing would just lead to more drama and tension. So we went to the fancy hotel. Yeah, it was nice and all, but it was impossible to enjoy knowing the cost and how we got there. This kind of thing happened a lot in our marriage. I'd disagree with something, she'd have a meltdown, give me the silent treatment, and then do whatever she wanted anyway. I'd usually just voice my opinion calmly, watch her freak out, and eventually go along with her plans because it was easier than dealing with the aftermath. Our friends would joke about Sarah being the boss in our relationship, and I'd laugh along because what else could I do? Admit I was scared of my wife's temper? I realize now how unhealthy the dynamic was, but when you're in the thick of it, you adapt. You tell yourself that every couple has its quirks. I did love her, and we had our good times too, but the constant tension and feeling like my preferences always came second really wore on me. I didn't fully grasp the toll it took until things fell apart. Fast forward to 3 nights ago, the night everything blew up and shattered whatever illusions I had about my marriage. We were celebrating our 10th anniversary, big party downtown, like 50 people there. Sarah handled most of the planning. I was cool with it. Our closest friends, some of my coworkers, her family, they were all there. My family lives abroad, so they missed the show, thankfully. The evening was going well until that point. Good food, open bar, everyone chatting and having fun. People were toasting us, sharing memories, all that good stuff. Sarah seemed happy, holding my hand, whispering jokes about the speeches. After dinner, I was getting ready to thank everyone and say a few sweet words about Sarah and our decade together. But before I could, Sarah hopped on stage with her boss, David. Had no clue he was even invited. Her family looked shocked, too, when he showed up. Sarah grabbed the mic, and that's where the story cuts off. But man, what a night that turned out to be. The room went dead silent as everyone turned to look at her. She had this weird smile on her face, definitely not her usual friendly one, something more like she was winning. She started talking about how tonight was for celebrating, but not just our 10 years together. It was about her starting something new. I felt a bit confused but figured she meant a new job or something. Then, out of nowhere, she dropped the bomb that she was leaving me. The room froze. Everyone stared at us, totally stunned. It was like I got the wind knocked out of me. My brain just couldn't wrap around it. Sarah and leaving me didn't belong together in my world. I kept thinking there had to be some mistake, or maybe this was some messed up joke. But nope, she kept going, and it got worse. She pointed to David standing next to her. He's like 10 years older and has been divorced twice, from what I knew. She said she was leaving me for him because he was the man who could give her what she wanted, a baby and a family. Those words, man enough, felt like a dagger. We'd been trying for a baby for years with no luck, and I'd recently discovered I had fertility issues. It was super personal, something we'd only told close family about. And here she was, using it against me in front of everyone. She ended it with, "This is happening now. This is my choice, and I'm moving forward with it." Her voice was cold, like she was making some business decision rather than ending a 10-year marriage. I was just stuck there, like I'd been hit by a truck but somehow was still standing. I couldn't breathe, my face went hot and then cold. The whole room felt like it was spinning. I saw everyone looking at me, shocked and feeling sorry for me. Friends who had just been congratulating us, coworkers who'd now remember me for this. Even Sarah's family looked just as blindsided as I felt. Then I looked back at Sarah standing proudly beside her boss, this guy who'd been over for dinner, shook my hand, and was secretly with my wife. My thoughts were racing, trying to figure out when this all started, how long it had been happening, and how I missed the signs. We had dinner together just the night before, talking about the party details. She kissed me goodbye that morning like everything was normal. How do you go from that to publicly humiliating your husband of 10 years? What kind of person does that? Before I could even think of what to say, Sarah's dad stood up and called her out, saying her behavior was shameful and disrespectful, and that the stuff she was saying about me was untrue. Her mom jumped in too, saying they didn't raise her to act like this and they couldn't support her. But her dad had the final say. Because of what she'd done, they'd consider her cut off from the family. They all walked out, not even looking back when Sarah screamed after them. I'd known her family for over a decade, traditional but caring, big on family and doing right by people. I'd never seen them so united, so disappointed. That's when the reality really sunk in. If even her own family, who loved and supported her no matter what, was leaving because of this, then what she did was truly messed up. Sarah clearly didn't see that coming. She started yelling after them, panicked, but I couldn't hear her over the rushing sound in my head. David tried to calm her, but she shoved him away. She looked nothing like the confident person she'd been just minutes ago. That's when I snapped out of it. A strange calm washed over me as I walked up to them. I think my brain was just trying to protect me, shutting down all feelings so I could handle the situation. I kept my voice steady and cold as I looked at both of them and said, "You need to leave." I couldn't believe how different my voice sounded. It was like someone else was speaking. And then there was David, that smug jerk, who actually had the nerve to try and smooth things over. He started with, "Mark, we need to talk," but I wasn't having any of it. I cut him off right there, saying, "Nah, we don't. You both need to get out of here before I lose it and punch your nose in." I gestured towards the exit where her family had bailed out. Whatever expression I had must have gotten the point across because they exchanged one of those "we better go" looks and moved off the stage to grab their stuff from a nearby table. Once they were gone, it was like 50 people had hit the mute button. All eyes were on me, waiting to see what I'd do next. My boss was there with his wife, some of my oldest friends, people who'd known us for years. I felt like I had to say something, like it was on me to wrap up this disastrous night. So, I went back to the stage, cleared my throat, and managed to get out, "I think it's clear the party's over. Sorry it had to end like this." My voice cracked, but I pushed through. "Thanks for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. Honestly, what else could I say? Surprise. My wife's been cheating on me with her boss, and I found out right when you did. Or maybe, don't worry about me, I'm just dying inside. Nothing could fix this mess." People started packing up, whispering to each other, and shooting me those sympathy looks as they headed out. A few close friends came up, gave me awkward shoulder pats or quick hugs, mumbling stuff like, "Call me if you need anything," or "I'm really sorry, man." I nodded, trying to say thanks, but it was like I was underwater, everything just a blur. Within about half an hour, the place was empty, except for the venue staff who tried to be invisible as they started cleaning up. I stuck around to help a bit, partly because I had to, but mostly because I needed something, anything, to do to keep my mind off things. The venue manager kept giving me these sad looks that totally weren't helping. I settled up the bill, signed the paperwork, and finally headed out. Walking into the empty house, it hit me all over again. A decade of marriage down the drain. I sat on our bed, the bed we'd shared for 10 years, and just lost it. I don't know how long I was there, but eventually, I picked up my phone. It was blowing up with texts from Sarah, all over the place. She couldn't believe her family reacted like that, admitted calling the whole thing a mistake but didn't back off leaving me. She suggested we talk or see a counselor, saying it was a cry for help but never really explaining why she'd humiliate me publicly or how it was somehow my fault. If I'd been more attentive, if I'd cared more about her needs, it wouldn't have come to this, she claimed. Her messages kept changing tones, like she was desperately tossing anything out there hoping something would stick. One moment she was the victim, the next she was ridiculously generous, offering to talk things through. Then she was the wronged party driven to extremes by my shortcomings. Classic Sarah, never able to own up to her actions, always twisting things to look better. But this time, there was no way to spin it. She'd crossed a line. I didn't answer her texts or calls. I decided to contact a divorce lawyer first thing in the morning and set up an appointment to start formalizing the end of our marriage. I'm writing this to document what went down, not because I'm unsure of my decision. I know what I need to do. I'm just trying to wrap my head around how everything fell apart in one night. Update, a week later. Thanks for all the supportive comments on my first post. Some of you wanted more details about the party and how Sarah's family reacted, so here's a bit more clarity. We had the party in a private room we rented for the night. Sarah's parents and brothers had been there from the get-go, sitting at a reserved table near the stage. Unfortunately, my family couldn't make it. So, here's the scoop, Sarah's folks couldn't make it because they're living overseas. But the real drama went down at this party when David, her boss, who wasn't even invited, showed up about an hour in. He came in with Sarah after she had briefly stepped out. Her family looked pretty shocked when he walked in, judging by their faces. Now, what Sarah said that night isn't exactly etched in my brain, but it went something like this: "Hey everyone, I've got an announcement. Tonight's not just about celebrating 10 years of marriage. It's about a new direction for me. I'm leaving Mark. I'm leaving him for David." Yup, she actually pointed at him and went on about how David's the one who can give her what she really wants, like a kid and a big happy family. She straight up ended our marriage right there, humiliating me in front of everyone, saying all sorts of nasty and untrue stuff about me. Even her own family was so appalled that they cut ties with her. Her texts afterward were just her trying to do damage control. They didn't really explain anything or show any real regret. The next morning, I didn't waste any time. I went straight to a divorce lawyer, laid out the whole messy situation, including details about our marriage and finances, and told him to get those divorce papers ready. He did, and soon enough, Sarah got served at our place, where she was still living. After that, she bombarded me with texts, flipping between begging me to drop the divorce and throwing insults my way. She even accused me of ruining her life. Pretty rich, right, considering what she did? I didn't give her the satisfaction of a response, but I saved all those messages and passed the threatening ones to my lawyer. I told my lawyer to tell hers that from now on, all communication about the divorce goes through them. No more direct chit-chat for us. So, that's the deal. We're officially in divorce mode, only talking through lawyers, and I'm just trying to piece my life back together. Fast forward 7 months, and the divorce is finally done. I can finally breathe a little easier. After Sarah got her copy of the divorce papers, she hired a lawyer and filed her side of the story. Funny thing is, she left out the whole bit about how she publicly dumped me and humiliated me. And then, she had the nerve to ask for alimony. Her whole argument was based on the fact that I earned more and we were married for a while, but she conveniently ignored why we split. On top of that, word got around from mutual friends that Sarah was trying to twist the story, making herself out to be the victim. Her asking for money while trashing my name was just too much. So, when my lawyer saw her alimony request, we discussed how judges in our state might rule based on the situation. He sent a letter to her attorney saying that if she kept asking for alimony, we'd bring the full story to the court. That included sworn statements from me and maybe even witnesses from the party, detailing how she left me for David and how her family reacted. We kept it all legal and straightforward. The effect was pretty instant. Sarah's lawyer got back to us real quick, saying she was dropping the alimony claim. Soon after, that was officially off the table. I've heard through the grapevine that things haven't been going great for Sarah since that party. 2 months after, she either left her job or got fired, and she hasn't been able to land anything similar since. Her money situation got so bad that she had to move in with one of her cousins. So, Sarah couldn't swing the cost of her own place. Her family's been sticking to their guns and hasn't made up with her since the anniversary party fiasco, which really shrunk her circle. Here's the play-by-play of how it all went down. Sarah decided to end our marriage right in the middle of our anniversary party, of all places. Her family immediately cut ties with her. The very next day, I went ahead and filed for divorce. She asked for alimony, but I wasn't having it and told her I'd spill all the beans about her behavior. She quickly backed off on that request. Not long after, she lost her job and had to crash with a relative because money got tight. The divorce is done and dusted now. We sorted out who gets what pretty easily since our finances weren't too complicated. The court officially ended our marriage. Sarah doesn't have her old job anymore, she's not getting any help from me, and she's holed up at her cousin's place. Her life's taken a huge turn from what it used to be before all this exploded. We don't talk directly anymore, only through our lawyers if we have to, which doesn't happen often now that everything's finalized. As far as I know, her family's still not talking to her. I won't be updating on this saga again. It's wrapped up, and I'm finally moving on with my life. The past 7 months have been brutal. For those asking about David, turns out he and Sarah didn't last after that big love proclamation. I heard they split around the time she left her job, but I don't know the nitty-gritty and honestly, I'm not interested. Big thanks to everyone who had my back and shared advice during this whole mess. Your encouragement really helped me stay strong when I wanted to give in to Sarah's demands just to end the misery. I'm doing a lot better now and can't wait to see what's next for me.